Hi boys and girls, today we're going to start a new unit on coordinate graphing. Okay, so we are watching a video. Remember, Coach Jones is not a YouTuber. There will probably be some flaws in this video. Just if at any time you need to pause it or rewind it to check on something or check on if something that I said that you didn't understand, feel free to do that. Also, if you did not bring your earbuds, Mrs. Rowe may be doing this out loud with you and stopping it together as a class. So either way, this is the video we're going to be looking at today, starting with coordinate graphing. Make sure you go to your page that you are on next. Page 73 is for me. Go to your table of contents, and you need to put in page 73 and then coordinate graphing into your table of contents. Okay, once you've done that, Mrs. Rowe probably has handed out all the materials that she needs to, or she can hand them out one at a time, whatever is good for her. So I'm just going to go through this. Once again, you can pause this video at any time. I'm going to start off with our foldable. Okay, so on our foldable, what you're going to do is you're going to fold it vertically in half. Then you're going to fold it horizontally in half. Okay, then you're going to open it up and you're going to fold it to that middle like this, and then fold it to the middle like this, so it opens up like a book. Okay, and we've done a foldable like this before. Okay, you're also going to cut to the first part right here. Don't go all the way to the middle though. Okay, and then you're going to cut to this line too. We're going to be making 4 quadrants to represent our coordinate graphing. You may have gone over this a little bit at the end of the year, your 5th grade year. In 5th grade, you are only responsible for quadrant number 1. Okay, so once again, if you need to pause the video, you can. I'm going to continue on though, so that I'm not waiting here for the video, so it doesn't end up being too terribly long. All right, so next thing that we are going to do is add our quadrant 1. Oh, actually the first thing I want to do is I want us to draw a big C starting in on this page quadrant to this one right here, then down all the way around to the last flap that's down there. Okay, so that's our big C. And that C stands for coordinate graphing. And it's also going to represent in the order that you read a coordinate graph. Okay, so this one, this corner right over here, your right-hand corner, is quadrant number 1. Okay, I'm going to pick a color to represent quadrant number 1. This is quadrant number 2. I'm going to pick a different color to represent quadrant number 2. And as I follow my big C around, this is quadrant number 3. Once again, another color for quadrant 3. And then as I move on around to the end of my C, this is quadrant number 4. Okay? All right. So once you have done that, you're going to open it up and you're going to glue down your coordinate graph right in the middle. And what you're going to do is you're going to line it up with those 4 folds that you had before, so that the arrows line up with the 4 folds on there. And then you're going to glue it down. Okay, and make sure that your numbers, the positive numbers go to the top, the negative numbers go to the bottom. As you can see, we have our X and we have a Y axis. Okay, so we'll start off with labeling those first. This is our X axis. It goes horizontally, our X axis. Okay, and that's also going to be the first one we read as well. Then as I turn it, this is my Y axis. Okay, so Y goes up and down. Okay, so X axis is your horizontal, Y axis is your vertical. Okay, then I have my origin, which is 0, 0, and that is called your origin. 0, 0. X is always listed first, Y is always listed second, just like it's listed in the alphabet. X comes before Y. Okay? So we're going to first start off with quadrant number 1. Now with quadrant number 1, you are going to have only positive integers, okay? And when you land in this quadrant right here, okay? So when I move to the right of my number line and then I move up to the right, upwards, that's going to land in my positive quadrant, okay? Notice these are positive numbers, and as I move up, these are positive numbers, okay? So if I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make a table, and it's going to be X, Y, and I'm going to label it positive, positive. So quadrant 1 is positive, positive. All right, we're going to do point A, and point A is 2 1/2, comma, 3. Notice that I'm putting parentheses around these, okay? This is also known as your ordered pair, okay? So your ordered pair, X is always listed first, and Y is always listed first, okay? So that's your ordered pair. When it lands in the first quadrant only, that's when it's positive, positive, okay? So I'm going to go over to 2 1/2, which is between 2 and 3, okay? And I'm going to go up to 3, and I'm going to plot it. And I'm going to call that A, point A. Okay? Now I'm going to go to quadrant 2. I'm going to move around that C, going from left to right. So I'm going to go to quadrant number 2. Okay? So I'm going to label this quadrant number 2. Quadrant number 2, you have to move to the negative on the x-axis. And in order to land in quadrant 2, you have to move up positive. So your first integer is always going to be negative, and your second integer is going to be positive. Okay? So first one negative, second one positive. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to make my T table over here, X and Y. Okay, so it's going to be negative 2 1/2 this time, comma 3. That's going to be my ordered pair for point B. Okay, I'm going to label this one, highlight this one green, since that's what I chose on the outside. And I'm going to go over to negative 2 1/2, then I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, and label that B. Okay. Also, just so, let me pause this for a second. Okay, I also was going to get a ruler. That's where I went away to get a ruler, and I'm going to connect this one up here. Okay, so I'll make sure that I know which one goes with which quadrant. Okay. All right, so this is B, and this one was our point A. All right, quadrant 3. Moving around that C, we're on quadrant 3. Now to get to quadrant 3 down here, okay, I have to go still to the negative, but I have to go down negative. Okay, so let's draw our T-chart. X and Y. We have, since they both have to be negative, this is going to be point C, negative 2 1/2 and negative 3. Okay, so they both have to be negative. I did this one in pink, so I'm going to highlight this in pink. I'm going to go over negative 2 1/2, and then I'm going to go down negative 3. So that is point C. Okay, so point C represents quadrant 3. Okay, quadrant 3. All right, so quadrant 3 has to be a negative integer for the x-axis, and a negative integer for the y-axis in order to land in that quadrant. Okay? Now moving out to the end of the C, I am going to do quadrant 4. Now to land in quadrant 4, I have to be over here, so I have to go positive and then down negative. So I have to go positive, down, negative. Okay? Let's see what I made. This one blue. So let's make our T-chart. Okay, so I have X and Y. So since it has to be positive, it's going to be a positive 2.5. Notice I'm using the same integers. And a negative 3 since I have to go down. And this is going to be point D. Okay? So this is going to be point D. All right, so over 2.5, down negative 3. Okay, and this will be D. I'm going to point an arrow to where this one goes. All right, so what I want to point out here is, if you notice, okay, as we finish this up, quadrant number 1 and quadrant number 3 have similarities because both of them have to be positive to land up here, and then the diagonal one, both of them have to be negative to land down here. And if you look at quadrant 2 and 4, which are opposite of each other, another thing to remember, odd 1 and 3 are odd numbers, 2 and 4 are even numbers. You have one of each. So to land in 2, it's negative positive, but to land in 4, it's positive negative. So those are some similarities that you can use to remember which quadrant is which. So you're going to fold this up like this, and you're going to glue it to the top of your man. Okay, next thing we're going to glue in right underneath it is the vocabulary. Okay, so I want you to go over this vocabulary. The first one is coordinate plane. Okay, I'm going to go over this with you. Coordinate plane is a two-dimensional system that is located with its distances from two intersecting perpendicular lines called the axes. So these are your perpendicular lines. Okay, your x and the y axis. It's two-dimensional because it's flat. Okay, it's not 3D. It's two-dimensional because it's flat. Okay, so remember, these are your axes, and this is a two-dimensional plane. The next one is quadrants that we have already gone over. Their quadrants is where each section is graphed in. Okay, so the coordinate grid is separated by 4 different quadrants. Your coordinates are your ordered pairs. Your ordered pairs are where you document, where they are. So like if you were doing a map and you had a park here and you had a cafe here and a school here, and you wanted to know how to get to that map get to that school or get to that cafe, these coordinate graphs would help you and you would be able to plot it on a map. Okay, so that's your ordered pairs. Once again, your x coordinate is going long ways, horizontal, and your y coordinate is your x-axis going up and down. Okay, so that is your video on your coordinate graphing. So the next page you're going to do is this one right here. And what I want you to do is to take that information that we just did, okay, you're going to glue this on the next page. So it's going to go into your man on the next page. You do not need to have a table of contents, and you're going to fill this out using your coordinate graphing, okay? Then you're going to do the same with this page. You're going to fill it out. When you're done with that, I have a T-Rex that you are going to graph and connect lines with, okay? Let me get the T-Rex. It will tell you the T-Rex body, okay? And this is the quadrants you're going to, the coordinate points you're going to graph, okay? And check off each one as you do it. Don't forget to label this one as your x-axis and this one as your y-axis. Okay, so each section